us. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Welcome. 3:33. I'm 3 minutes late. Actually, I was only 2 minutes late because it takes a minute to do the opening. The starts. What's up, Sawyer? Did you want to be on camera? All right. There you go. Now you're on camera. This is Sawyer. He's very jittery. All right. I didn't ask all the cats to be around me. Go find something to do. Go frolic. Play with stuff. All right. Nothing like a frolicking cat. You ever seen a cat frolic? I don't think that I have. So, yeah. I don't really have much to say before we get started. You know why kids bully? Because their parents are bullies. Let's remember that. Not always, but it's usually the case. They figure it out from something. All right. Not always. Ooh, this is a hard hitting one. Fentanyl is just another word for funeral. Whew. When somebody buys a pill and they're told it's something and it's something not, and it kills them, we call that drug-induced homicide, right? So when Denver says that the homicide rates are down, but overdoses are up, we are not getting a clear picture. See, they're separating these things, and they shouldn't separate these things. No, they shouldn't. So it didn't go down. They just didn't include everything in it. Why? Because they want to look better. That's why. Sorry, I'm over here kicking cats. Give me a second. I got to blow my nose. All right. Got kind of a conundrum coming up. I got to run the group conscious and go to a meeting at the same time. Thankfully, one's just a phone call. So I'm not sure how I'm going to pull that off. I did go to my group and ask if anybody like take over, but I don't think anybody is. They haven't done it before. So, but really there's only one way to, it's only really one way to figure out how to do it. That's by doing it. So we'll see. I certainly don't expect anybody to either. It can be daunting. Sure, it can be. Because when you're running the group conscious meeting, part of your job is quelching fights. Yeah, keeping the peace so we can get to an answer. Now, thankfully, in grassroots, they make it kind of easy on me. So, all right. In fact, that's probably what I should be doing right now is putting the stuff together for group conscious. But I had a request to go live. I figure I'd do it. Hey, Leisure, if I didn't say hi, hello. Hello to you. Yeah. Good stuff, right? So says it in the big book. Half measures availed us nothing. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'm going to ask my listeners. I need you, and most of you are at 99% of you are not going to comment, even if you hear this. That's all right. I'm thinking about changing the URL of my website to either Dion the Podfather or the Podfather.online. So far in grassroots, they're like, don't change it. But it's gonna change because I gave the option of none of these. Well, what they're saying is we don't want you to change it. I'm saying I'm changing it, but it's not gonna be any of this anyway. So I am the Podfather. I'm going to claim it. I claim it. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. So which do you prefer? DionThePodfather.com or thepodfather.online? Oh no. Not really convinced of either one yet. All right. Good news though. My kids have officially taken over my website. So no matter what it's called, there will be an improvement. Leisure says, I think you should do what you want to do. And yeah, that's what it's going to come down to anyway. I was hoping me bringing this up might bring other things to your head and stuff, because it's a good starting point idea, I think. But feels like, see, Podfather's easy to spell. Trudging together. One person said that, right? They said, I enjoy trudging together, though. I've never passed a spelling test, but I know trudging together. But he misspelled trudging. And then he put his like, I even just misspelled, and that's what it is. The Plodfather. All right. Variations. So we'll see. Tell me what you think. But the good news is, and it was funny, I was talking to my son Shay, and he said, you're probably gonna get mad because I'm gonna sit down and do your website. And I'm gonna do it so fast and it's gonna look so much better. You're gonna get mad. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm gonna be happy. If you get it done, if you get it done really fast and it looks great, you're not going to get any complaints from me. Now, if I was paying them by the hour, sure. Actually, I am paying them. So, see, when it comes to my kids, I do things a little different. So they need to borrow some money from me. And at the present moment, I don't want to even say they owe me a chunk of money because they don't. They're my children, but they feel the need to pay it off, things like that. So I said, why don't we just kind of offset some of this? That way it's not looming over your head. I'm getting something out of it. And they're like, yeah. And I trust my kids. They've been listening to me do this for 3-4 years now. So they know what I do. And so I'm excited to see that. Yeah, it's too much for me. So half measures availed us nothing. All right. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. All right. How many times you're working with somebody and they just do not want to put in the work? It happens. Happens more than it doesn't happen. There's always something around that 4-step that, even I'm going to tell you the first 4-step I did. This is how it went. YouTube won't load. Okay. I'm going to send you the link. Try the link. There we go. And I got to mute for a second because I have yelling cats. All right. Leisure says, I think since your main niche is recovery and that your domain should include that somehow. I do not disagree with that. What about the recoverypodfather.com? There we go. That was another choice. The recoverypodfather.com. Let me know what you think of that. I want the constructive criticism. That's why I bring this stuff up. I don't have all the answers. I have good ideas. That doesn't mean I have all the answers to these ideas and stuff. And I need a lot of help right now. Not just therapy. All right. But I did everything half-assed. Right. And growing up, one of the things that I heard all the time was you do it right the first time or you don't do it at all. Right. So my first 4-step, I was actually on a team at the time. So I was working, and I was one of the only people, the Phoenix concept, that was allowed to work. But it was because I was 18. I was capable. I hadn't been living on the streets for 20 years, like a lot of them, and they needed time to get their stuff back together. And a lot of them couldn't go get a job at McDonald's and stuff. I could. Um, oh, that's what it was, huh? Amber couldn't get on. She's like, I can't get on. I'm like, try the link. School Wi-Fi restricted you for a second. Yes, I will be. If you are listening to me and you go walking into like a school or something like that, this video, if I am live, will be cut. Okay. Because I have it set. I have it set to restricted. Mhm. Children cannot, if somebody has a children's YouTube, they don't get to hear. I talk about some things that kids under 16 just probably shouldn't hear yet. Okay. I do a lot of swearing. Sometimes there's sexual jokes coming up and things, and I just don't feel comfortable with kids listening to that. Right. So, um, so anyway, I wasn't getting to my 4-step, and the man that ran it, his name was Ray Hayworth, pulled me into his office and said, Dion, you are getting a little too big for your britches. Your head is getting a little too big. You think you know what you're doing, but in reality, you haven't even finished your 4-step. So here's the deal, and I've already talked to your boss. You're grounded for a month. You are not to leave the building for a month. Go get your 4-step done. And I got it done. I did. I got done like a week and a half. Right? No, I had to do the 30 days. Yeah. So when people are saying, "Oh, my sponsor got mad at me because I didn't," I got grounded. I wasn't even allowed to leave the building for 30 days. So I don't want to hear it. But I did it. I did. And I stayed for the full year too. It was a year-long program. I stayed for the full year. I could have left much earlier, but that was the commitment. So I did it. In fact, I went out for a couple months. I was living with somebody. They relapsed. Stuff was going on. I was afraid that I was going to go back to drinking. So I went back to the Phoenix concept, and they let me stay there for another month while I was getting some other stuff together and another place to live. Yeah. The Phoenix concept did that for me. Saved my ass, man. All right. So it was that particular one that helped me realize that what I am only going to get what I put into this program. That's why I'm going to tell you something. I love the dividends. I love watching other people get their life back together. I love helping other people and knowing I was a part of it. I get a high out of it. It makes me feel good and I want more. My problem is I have to watch out for burnout. That's my thing. I have to watch myself so that I don't do too much. Or maybe I'm doing so much service work. See, we alcoholics can take this to that I'm consuming all the service work. Yeah. This was a few years back, but somebody came to me when they said, Hey, we're going to have this party down at a day at a time club. And this guy has been the treasurer for 20 years. Can you believe that? Isn't that amazing? I'm like, what? 20 years? No, no, I am not going to go celebrate that. He should have let go of that 18 years ago. So I'm going to go celebrate selfishness? No. And celebrating, that isn't even a thing to celebrate. We don't celebrate that we finished whatever. Or all I'd be doing is celebrating. No. What about the spirit of rotation? No. What I hear is there were 18 years there where somebody else could have been doing service work and could have stayed sober, but you wanted to be selfish and hold on to it because you think you're better at it than everybody else because you want to hit that mark or whatever. Yeah. No. Right. In our lives, we did things half-assed. Except when it came to what? Our drinking. And then we didn't half-ass that, did we? No, we did not. See, I know you got it in you because I found that I actually put more time and effort into my drinking than I do on a daily basis working my program. I put less time into it. Still a lot of effort. And I do the same things every day. Does it get boring? No. No. Because there's just too much stuff going on in people's lives. My life is, it's not very often that I am bored. Right. I used to be a lot, but that had more to do with my ADHD and unregulated emotion. Now that I can regulate those things and I've gotten better at them, I have more time on my hands to do the things that I enjoy, like drumming, like going live and doing other things. One thing I really, really like doing is creating 12-step work. I love creating something for you to do that you enjoy. Love doing it. I'm very good at taking somebody's passion and turning it into recovery. I'm really good at it. So, right. So this isn't dramatic language. It's just live experience, right? Half measures feel safer than full change. Sure, it does. And really, we're just trying to feel safe. I mean, we hadn't felt safe in so long. I get that. But in this case, putting in half the work is going to not get me anything. See, in a lot of other cases in life, I put in half and I get half. In this case, mm-mm. So what are we really asking? We are asking that you do the best that you can, do the best of your ability now. And that's going to vary. Sometimes the best of my ability is not that great. Maybe I've been sick for a few days. Maybe I didn't get any sleep last night. Maybe something happened and I'm just not feeling well today and I can't put as much effort in as I usually do. That is okay. We just ask that you do the best you can at that particular moment. That's it. Huh. And you are capable of doing that. Right? So I wasn't failing recovery. I was trying to negotiate with it. All this negotiation, yeah, but even this last week, I helped somebody find treatment. Yesterday, they write me, well, I found, my insurance is going to be valid on the 15th. Do you know of any other treatment centers that would take me? And I wrote back, I said, I think Salvation Army is the best treatment center. And I do. Out of all the treatment centers here, I think that Salvation Army is the closest to true recovery. Number one, it's free. Absolutely free, 100%. We ain't even going to ask for your Medicaid. Free. Yes. 6-month program. It's a great program. All right. Now, I'm going to see if I can't get him to a place where we might be able to help some people that even do have self-pay insurance, and maybe they can go there for 30 days. You ain't going to have to wait for a bed. They got a lot of beds. 120. They did not half measure on this one for sure. All right. They're doing a grand opening. I got an invite. And you're all invited too. Everybody's invited. So I'll be sharing it on Facebook. If anybody wants to go with me, and I'm going to ask my grassroots group I'm going to challenge them to make people show up to this one. All right. Now, unfortunately, it's at 12 o'clock. All right. When is it? Let's go look. Let's see what dates and times we're talking about here, real quick. All right. November or February 25th. So we still got a month away. That is a Wednesday. So Wednesday at noon. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get a lot of people aren't going to be able to make that. So no worries. No worries, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a tour for us. I'm Dion. I get tours. I'm special, right? So what does half measures actually look like? Telling part of the truth, half the truth, leaving out it. All right, let's do this. We're watching a video and it's some lady who's at the counter who's all pissed because her order wasn't right, and they're calling her a Karen. This video is half measures. We didn't see the whole thing. We're seeing a perspective. It is only half. There's only half of it there. What happened before that? Now that the person who's filming the other person is starting to film, suddenly they're nicey nice because they know they're on camera. So all of a sudden, yeah, things change. Weird. See, I don't buy any of that stuff because it's all perspective. And I've been in these situations before where I've had crappy service and people act that way. Just in the last few months, I had people accuse me of doing something in the group, and they were being all nicey nice in the group. But when they were talking to me, no, they sat there and yelled and screamed at me and blamed me for shit. Totally different person. But nice enough. See? Right? If you're going to be something, be something. Don't half measure it. Right? Doing steps selectively. That'd be a big one. Well, I'm only going to do steps 1 and 12. Right. Then I've done 12 steps. Then I've done the 12th step. In our mind, I've done the 12th step. I'm on the 12th step. I do the 12th step all the time. I'm always helping people. But the problem is I don't know how to help myself. So if one actual answer, I don't have it. Two-stepping is what we call it. And it's not just a country dance. It's when people work the first and the 12 only. Only. If that's what you want, go to Smart Recovery. That's a joke. You're gonna have to know Smart Recovery because Smart Recovery doesn't have God in it. That was the joke, and it purely was a joke. Just say, all right. If I have to explain my jokes, then they're not very fucking funny, are they? All right. Showing up physically, but not emotionally. Blowing smoke up our butts. You think we don't know? We know. We just, how do you know when an alcoholic is lying? His mouth is moving. Okay. And it's a joke, but it is not far from the truth for somebody that is just coming into the program. Yeah. Okay. Because the alcoholic's brain will try and do one thing and one thing only. Easier, softer way. We alcoholics have to go out of our way to make sure that we go down the right road. That's why we go to meetings. That's why we check in. That's why we have accountability. That's why we have sponsors and closed mouth friends and people that are close to us. Yes. Okay. There was somebody that was coming to the meeting every day and then they were gone for 3 days. They come back and we're like, yeah, we know. We already knew that. We knew it a day ago. See, once you start drinking 2-3 days, man, like that, bam, 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 bam. I'll start drinking and a year and a half will go by. I'm not shitting. It's happened to me. All right. That's scary stuff. Okay. Now, in the beginning, you're probably just going to show up physically. Maybe you're not quite sure how AA works and stuff. And that's perfectly acceptable. But you've got to find a home group and you've got to find a place where you feel okay opening the big hole in the front of your face. Even if it's, hi, I'm Dion, I'm an alcoholic, I'm claiming my seat because I'm not sure what you guys are talking about, so I'm kind of listening to this. Thank you. Even that, claiming your seat is a good start. Right? We got to get started somewhere. Taking suggestions we already agree with. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. But we already agree with it. What are they saying? You agree with it, but you only made a decision. You haven't done anything about it. That's what they're saying. Oh, yeah, 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 that's a great suggestion. I ain't going to do nothing, but yeah, that's a good suggestion. Ah, I did what was comfortable and called it effort. Right? I did what was comfortable, and I told people this was effort. Okay? When you get up in the morning and you ask your higher power, whatever it may be, to keep you sober that day, and you do nothing, you sit on your ass and doom scroll all day. Yeah, that's not gonna work. You gotta put some effort into your life, even if it's sweeping the floor or vacuuming or dusting or something. Okay. So that when you walk back in that room, you'd be like, yeah, I actually put some effort into this today. Right. My garage. Oh man, since we moved in, the thing's been packed full. And not just my stuff, but Barb's stuff, the lady that lived here before. Most of it was her stuff. And it's taken me years to go through it. Okay. I'm almost at a point where I'll be able to fit a car in the garage now. Getting really close. Now I walk in there. Is it still a mess? Does a lot of stuff need to be done? Yes, but it's looking better. And I can take a little pride in that. Right. And then what does that do? Well, then it makes me want to put in more effort to make it look like I'd like it to. So when it comes to these big things, maybe you have 10 loads of laundry to do. Maybe your laundry is so high, maybe you should stop buying clothes. Okay. Minimize your shit, first of all. Do one load. You don't have to do the whole thing. Do one load. Do one load a day. By the time you get to the 10th day, if you're a person and you're just one person, if you got kids and stuff, yeah, good fucking luck. All right. Actually, I'm pretty good at it. There's only one time. Sunday, I do laundry. I do all the laundry on Sunday, always have, and I always will. Yeah, I don't have very many rules in the house, but one of the rules is dad gets the laundry on Sundays. And I do 3 loads of laundry. Almost always, maybe a fourth. All right. Whites, darks, and then towels and such. All right. That's what I do. And I stick to that system. All right. I always have a system. Even Chat GPT setting this up, I have a system and I can't stay consistent with it. Well, Chat GPT has decided it wants to do other stuff now. I had to yell at it earlier. I'm like, quit going off and doing this. I didn't ask you to do it. Okay. It's like it's creating it. And I call it names all the time. Well, I don't call it names, but I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I don't need you to be sorry. I need you to change. Have you not been listening to my stuff, Chat GPT? I gave you permission. It's the main thing is I have to make a thumbnail for every single one. I don't have to. I could just put Daily Trudge. But I like to have that thumbnail because it tells you what it's about. I'm not artistic. I'm more autistic than artistic. Okay. And it's not my forte. I'm great at running my mouth. I keep telling it, I need you to do it. And then it gives me these options. Well, do you want this kind, this? I'm like, I don't care. I have trust in the fact that you're going to do a better job than me, and that's what I'm going after. So I give you permission to just make it. Oh, well, how about these choices? Okay, you're not listening. Okay. And you don't have a soul. So quit acting like you got feelings. Just stop it, ChatGPT. You don't have feelings. I tell you right now, that's going to be a clip. It's going to make a clip out of that one. All right. So why did I fear half measures, or why did I choose half measures? Fear was the big one. Fear of change. Now, it wasn't that I didn't want to change. I did want to change. I didn't want to be that person anymore. My biggest fear was that I was afraid I was going to lose any identity I had. Because I already had enough of I've already had enough of this life and being a non-entity around a lot of people. That means not being noticed. Right? I already had enough of that. I don't want more of that. Right? So that was my big fear, that I was going to lose my identity. Even though that identity was not very socially acceptable, at least I had one, because being a non-entity feels horrible. And I didn't want to feel that way. Now, it didn't happen. Like I said, it was a fear. It was a boogeyman. So fear of change was probably my biggest one. Fear of loss. Well, I don't know if I went through that. Everybody, well, absolutely, I went through it. I got sober because I didn't want to lose my wife and kids. So I got sober. I didn't want to lose my kids again. So, yeah, sometimes that fear gets us sober, though, right? So, fear of losing others. Nobody comes into this program really of their own accord. People don't wake up one day and say, I should probably head to AA. No, there's usually some outside force that brings somebody to AA. Right? Now, I can't say that for all of alcoholics because I haven't met all of them, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty close to 100%. Okay. Fear of surrender, wanting results without discomfort. So, what is it? It's the fear of the discomfort. Now, right now, we have the skill of delayed gratification, that I'm not going to get what I want right now. I might not get what I want ever in that situation. Right? In the beginning, God did not answer me with my questions. Okay. If you are not getting an answer to your question, the answer is no. That's the answer. No. After a while, God started to say, not yet. Now, God often says, yes, Dion, you're correct. That's what we need to do. Because my will is no longer racing out of control in elation or pride or ego or depression and all these other things. My will is now in line with my higher powers. And I get a lot of benefits because of that. Peace, serenity, usefulness. I am a useful member of society. It's kind of nice. I didn't think I was ever going to be that person again because I was that person in my 20s. Right? My wife used to sit there and tell me, because she was my girlfriend when I got sober the first time, and she would sit there and tell me, I know the sober Dion and I know what he's capable of. So I'm going to love you until that person comes back and you can learn how to love yourself again. And she wasn't wrong. It's probably one of the only people in this world that would ever get away with saying that to me. Yeah, I have to trust you a lot for you, but I've always trusted Shannon, always, from the day I met her. She just doesn't have a mean bone in her body. She doesn't. Okay, so I'm the mean one in the family. Right, but it's my wife that you don't want to piss off, right? Yeah, because then I get involved. So half measures, what did it do? It let me keep control because I didn't want to give up the control. Now I don't mind. Now I'm like, oh, you want to chair the meeting? Awesome. Do it. You want to host? You want to do that? Go for it. Here's all of it. I mean, I don't have to. Sometimes I go to the grassroots meeting. I don't have anything to do. And I find myself like, oh, I need to go, oh, no, Dion, because I'm so used to it. Right. And that I remember, no, Dion, you don't have to do that today. Yes. Progress. less control. Yeah. I don't need to have control over the meeting. In fact, if I had control over the meeting, it probably wouldn't run the way it runs. You know who has control over the meeting? God and whoever is currently chairing, not me. If I'm not one of these two, then I'm not really in control. The chairperson gets to decide who's talking next. Chairperson gets to decide the topic. Yeah, let them do it. Let them have it. Do people always come up with topics I agree with? No. Oh, some are downright confusing. Okay. But I've got to let them learn. Yeah. Okay. What I do appreciate is the fact that they gave a lot of thought to the topic. See, I appreciate that. It's not always easy to come up with a topic. In fact, earlier, Amber said live, and I was literally just trying to think of a topic, and Amber's the one that gave me this topic. We were actually talking about something else and kind of went into let's just say it was about a wiener dog. All right. So wanting, yeah, half measures help me stay in control, which is what I really wanted. All right. Now I'm going to tell you something. Okay. Control comes back. Yeah. But it is not control of others and people, places, and things. It is the control of my emotions and my actions. That's the only control I really need in my life. And even then, it's not control, it's responsibility. Me taking responsibility for my actions and my emotions and my triggers. Oops, lost connection. And then we're back. Okay. Went out for a second there. Oh, well, what are you going to do? At least chat's working. Right? I used to get so mad about all that stuff. I'm paying for this. Nah. If it only happened once, we're doing well. So what do half measures what do they lead to? Well, they're going to lead to the drink eventually. But there are going to be signs. Signs everywhere. A sign. Rocking at the scenery, breaking my mind. All right. There's going to be signs. What are they going to be? They're going to be frustration. You're going to be restless. Blame. And then you know what you're going to do? And you're not going to talk about it. You're going to get a quiet resentment towards recovery. I heard somebody at 60 days saying, why am I celebrating 60 days? I'm celebrating not being a piece of shit. Okay. Got to do the work. Got to do the work. Then you'll see it. 60 days is a big fucking deal. But what are they? Well, they're restless, irritable, and discontent. And they have a resentment towards recovery at the moment because they found it unwanting, but they haven't done the work. Eventually, they will probably figure this out with enough consequences. This person will eventually figure this out. But we all have one thing when we come in. If you have kids, it's going to be your kids. I just want my kids to love me again. I just want my kids to trust me again. This is going to take years in some cases. Okay. So what do we do? In the meantime, do the best you can with what you have at the moment. It's the answer. That's a great answer. All right. Nothing worked because I never fully tried. Well, yeah, AA, I hear it all the time. People, AA didn't work. Did you even do the steps? No. Then you can't say that because you didn't give it a try. Remember when you were a kid and your parents were like, just try it. You might like it. Oh, I don't like it. You might like it. Well, this is contempt prior to investigation, is it not? Contempt prior to investigation. Now, I'm not saying that some people haven't had a bad time in AA. Heck, we're going to be talking about it on Monday on Monty's show, right? That doesn't mean it's like saying all white males have toxic masculinity. No. Mm-mm. It's not true. Don't lump everybody into one place because of a few bad apples, man. And there's a few bad apples everywhere. Okay. Yeah. So, what is the opposite of the half measure? We use it all the time. Don't you ready? Drum roll. Willingness is the opposite of half measures. Are you willing to do it? You are? Okay. And even then, willingness is not an action word. It leads to action. If you don't do the action, you know what it means? You weren't willing. You lied. But you're an alcoholic, so that's not unusual. It's not unusual to be lied to. I screwed that all up. I wanted to throw an alcoholic in there. It's not unusual. Willingness means uncertainty. Willingness means risk. And willingness means letting go of the outcomes. And we don't want to do that. There's that control issue again. So you got to give up control. Aside from the fact you don't have any. Your control doesn't exist. You think it does. Why must you be such an angry young man? Okay? You got to look at these things. It takes more courage to face these things than it does to ignore them. Willingness starts where the comfort ends. Okay? It's okay to be a little uncomfortable. I'm a little uncomfortable almost all the time. And, right, my big thing is time. Oh, so how do they show up emotionally? Well, you get irritable. You start to disconnect. It's the feeling stuck. You're going to say the same thing at meetings every single time now, after a little while. And in the beginning, you're going to think, well, it's this, is that. And now, feeling stuck. Oh, it works for them, but not me, because I'm terminally unique, because I have other problems. I'm diagnosed with 5 mental illnesses, and here I am, sober. In 2.5 months, I'll have 10 years of sobriety. Wow. Yes. I'm so looking forward to my 10 year, because it's my 10 years where I relapse. So this is an accomplishment for me, that I'm going to reach where I reached before and go beyond that. Once I hit that, I will feel like I have kind of evened out. All right. That's what I think, but who knows, right? So, what does full measures mean then? What does it mean? It says radical honesty, but I'm not going to go with radical honesty. I'm going to go with rigorous honesty. A rigorous honesty. All right. You follow through. I've had a couple of things with sponsee, 2 sponsees in the last 2 days. Yeah, this came up, but I didn't want to bug you with it. You're just so busy. And I tell them, no. No, you know better than that. Send me a text first then. What I told both of them was this: you don't get to determine my time. I do. So you let me determine whether or not I'm too busy. Does that work? All right, cool. You're supposed to bother me. It's my job. Yeah, but this is my sponsee. Yeah, but I'm your sponsor. Okay? I have a sponsee who's having a hard time with a sponsee trying to get him to the work. So I'm showing up to their meeting. Yeah. And we'll see what we can get done. Maybe a different voice or a different way of it being said will help motivate this person. Okay. But this is their last chance to get started on the 4-step. If your sponsor needs to bring me in, oh, you in trouble. You're not really. Just take that as a joke. All right. Asking for help early, doing the thing you don't want to do. Okay. Full measures isn't perfection, it's honesty. All right. All right. Let's close this up. All right. So let's bring it back to today. Where am I still hedging? What am I avoiding? And what does full participation look like? I'm going to answer these. Where am I hedging? I'm sure I could find something. I'm not really avoiding anything, right? Oh, yes, I am. I'm avoiding getting my paperwork done for disability, and I'm going to sit down here in the next. I got to do it in the next week. Where I'm just going to take one day and do it. All right. So, what would full participation look like? If anything, I have to watch how much I participate in because I tend to over participate now. So, but what does full participation look like? Raising my hand and speaking at a meeting is what it looks like. So, half measures kept me alive, but full measures gave me a life. Right. Amber says my sponsor is busy. First thing I did this morning is hit him up and went to a meeting, then hit up my sober circle. See, yeah. There's always backups, but you went to you, but you know, first thing you did was went to him. He's like, I'm kind of busy right now. Maybe that didn't happen. I don't know. But see, one person wasn't there, so you have other people that you go to. I'm the same way. I got 6, 7 people I can go to at any minute. So one of those people is going to be available. So thanks for expanding on that, Amber. I appreciate it. That's not just your sponsor, but your closed mouth friends too, your support system. So thanks. All right. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out.